Welcome back, everyone. So, for those of you who've been following along, I've kind of fell into the radio repair business, specifically the Mazda Sensory sound system stereo, which was an optional stereo for the 1993 to about 95 Mazda Miata. The stereo was a unique it was actually part of the 1993 limited edition model, which was a black, beautiful black exterior with Jonestown red, blood red, Kool-Aid red interior, leather, of course. And well, now that these cars have hit the collectible market with a thud, people are paying good money to restore them. But you can't have a Mazda 93 LE Miata without one of these. This was an integral part of the 93 limited edition. And sadly, they don't age well. No, they don't. Really unfortunate. And I got two of them here. Now let me explain. So I've been selling my label kits like hotcakes. This is one label kit. We're gonna need some of these. I've been selling them like crazy. I sold in like 3 or 4 days. I ended up doubling my money, my initial investment in having those produced. I produced 30 complete sets of labels, which is, see, this is what they look like when they're as found. Look at this. See this? All this degradation? All of that. Look at that. We can replace these now because I had them produced. It was a very expensive endeavor, but I have sold, ready? I have sold, out of the 30 sets I made, I have sold a total of about 26 sets worldwide. I have shipped sets to Poland, France, the UK, and several U.S. states all over the map. I'm telling you, I'm glad I had them made. And I am on track to potentially have another set produced. So these stereos that I have before you, there's two of them here, came from one individual who happens to own a 93 limited edition. He actually has two of them. And he wants me to restore both stereos. And basically we're going to do a lot of the same stuff that we did to my stereo that I've been enjoying. But we have to function test these first and see where they're at. We need a baseline as to where these are on the functionality spectrum. So a good thing is I have a wiring harness all rigged up for the 93 limited edition style stereo, and we gotta keep track of these stereos. Make sure that I don't even know what this bracket's for. I don't know why this is here. This looks like, oh, you know what? Looks like he had this stereo apart. This is the bracket that goes above the cassette deck. Somebody's been playing around in this one. That doesn't look good. Yeah, somebody's been trying to fix these. So that could be interesting to see how that pans out. So why don't we do that? We're going to function test these. Start with this one. I'll plug all this back in. Now I want to point something out. These stereos are the earlier model. So the one in my car is a 94. So my car is a 94. and it had the later edition of this stereo. Some real differences are these buttons are rough, and I don't have a set. I just sold a set of these off to somebody, so I don't. He wants to restore both. I told him best I could probably do is give you one really good one. I don't know if I can restore these. I don't have these buttons. I just sold those to another gentleman. But the earlier models that were used in the limited editions, they're going to have these little colored dashes under the power and source buttons. So you can tell them apart pretty quickly. So if you've got these colored hash marks underneath the source buttons, then you've got the original 93 LE style. And this one was manufactured November of 92. So the one in my car was made sometime in 93. And on the back side, you've got a couple of different style connectors. So on the on the later model stereo, the Body Sonic amp has two connectors, one DIN connector going right here. And what they've done is they've combined some of the connections that were used in this connector here, which is an accessory connector. They've combined them, but they should be compatible either way. These are both. Here's a much better looking example. This one's actually not in bad shape. It looks pretty good otherwise. So the initial request was, okay, he wants to do a full cosmetic restoration, and I think that was it. I'm going to go through my emails and see what he really wants. I asked him to send me just give me a list of what you want done, and we'll go from there. So let me hook this guy up, and we're going to see what it will do and what it won't do. All right, now this is a 12 volt, 10 amp power supply. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is set to read out amperage. And I want to see what it has for draw. And the reason I want to do that is if there's an internal short and this thing starts to spike, we're going to kill the power immediately. So let's see what it'll do. Okay. We're not drawing anything. Now that's bad because I have clock power. Okay. Now let's put it on the tuner. All right. The stereo is completely dead. We have clock power, but nothing else. No tuner, not turning on, not doing anything. Okay, mute mode. Nothing going to the Body Sonic. All my connectors, all my connections are made. Well, at least all the ones that matter. That's not good. This guy's dead. Dead. All right. Speakers are connected. We've got power, but we're not drawing anything. It's pushing out 12 volts. But we're not really drawing much current at all. Yeah, we got clock power though. That's something. And it's actually ticking over, so we have partial power going to the amp, but no lights, no power, nothing. All right, let's see. Let's try to feed it a cassette. See if it even tries to take it in. No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, let's try that again. Let's try this one. All right, unit number 2. Same sender. Let's see what we got. Okay. Now this one, nothing. I think somebody's been messing with these. This one has no clock power, nothing on the display. All right, that was fun. Let's all right, so, oh wait, no, I didn't connect the ground lead. That might be necessary. So the ground lead gets screwed into the back, and we gotta do that. Where is the ground? Where is my ground lead? Where? There it is. Nope. It's a little black wire. Oh, there it is. Ah, yes. Yeah, there's my ground. Now, the blue wire is our. I just want to point this out. The blue wire coming out of the harness from the radio. This one right here. What this is going to do is this connects to. This actually grounds. So the antenna motor has constant positive connected to it, and this grounds the antenna motor, which activates the power antenna. That's all it does. And you can connect this to chassis ground if you want to. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's not really helpful. Here we go. Ah, we got something. I got lighting. We got some lighting. It's stuck in tape mode. You know what that means. Okay. All right. Okay. What this is telling me, this flashing tape tells me that the cassette deck is implausible situation. Okay. The sensors tell it that there's a tape in there. What's happening is the belts are melted. Let's prove that right now. Okay, there's something going. I can't even get a tape to. All right, there's something seriously wrong with that mechanism. We have that. Sound mute works. Okay. This button's bad. We can fix that. The open close mode. The button's bad. But mute works. This one's promising. I'm going to tune it. So what we got to do with this one is I'm going to give the owner a few options. We can repair that cassette deck with new belts at a minimum. The cost is minimal. And but I don't think he wants that fixed. I wonder if the CD player works. Let's see what that does. It's a good album, by the way. Nothing. So CD player is probably disconnected internally. I think it finally timed out on us. But it's not displaying. Alright. It is tuning though. Alright, I gotta look up his notes and see what he wants. What his demands are. That works. Yeah, balance works. This is the fader. But on the Miata stereo, the fader goes from the headrest speakers to the front door speakers. That's all it does. And I bet you the balance is fine. This is actually a salvageable chassis. We get sound out of it. That's pretty good. Let's put this one aside for a moment. We're going to take a look at the other one and see what the hell's going on with it. Let's just see how bad it really is. I'm dying to know. When I saw the amount of rust on the chassis, I got nervous. Rightfully so. These connectors are so stiff. Alright, let's unplug that ground. Let's put this guy aside. This one is going to be salvageable. This one, I don't know. This one might have been underwater. Look at this. Look at the amount of rust on this chassis. This is not a good sign. This isn't what you want. I'm going to probably suggest this one be used as a parts unit. but I won't know until I dig into it. But it isn't promising. You don't want to see this amount of damage on a stereo like this. He's probably better off going to just start searching. You know, these stereos are hard to find in bad condition. So, oh, no. I'm not even going to go any further with this one. Yeah, this guy's junk. Just take a look at that. You see what I see? Look at this. There's corrosion all over the amp board. No, this isn't good. So I'm afraid that this one won't be salvageable. But do understand that even a stereo in this condition has value. I sold just these 4 buttons alone. I got 20 bucks for these. Just these 4 buttons, 20 bucks. I sold these knobs overseas. I sent them to a guy in France. I think I got about 30 bucks for those knobs. The faceplate, this would make a good restoration core. So what I would do with this faceplate is I would restore it. You know, new labels, new decals, complete paint job. There's money here. Even in this condition, to someone who does what I do, this radio has value, for sure. But as far as putting it back in a car, I'm afraid that's not going to happen. This thing is trash. I just want to see how bad it is, though. And I'm sure you do, too. So this is... So what I'm doing right now is I'm really testing the waters to see, okay, do I have the skills to set up a repair business for these stereos? Because I know there's money to be made in restoring these, because the NA Miata market is just crazy, and people are paying real money to fix these cars. And a lot of folks, like myself, would prefer to keep the original stereo in the dash, because it's just part of the aesthetic of owning a car from that time period. And the only other option is an aftermarket radio, and they just don't look right, you know. Putting in a modern stereo in a 90s dash just doesn't do it for everybody, myself included. And yeah, this radio got wet, and chances are it was powered up when it happened, and or it was powered up while it was wet, and that just fried it. So I don't think we're going to get very far with this one, but I do want to take a look inside. I'm going to take the whole bracket off. The brackets, by the way, these brackets, I sold a set of these brackets for, I think I got like 30, 40 bucks for a set of these brackets. I'm telling you, don't throw these away. Even in this condition, they're nice to have, because they are a good source of various parts that get lost over time. And we're going to get a look at her and see what we can do. Well, I know there's something I can do with it. Oh, yeah, it just gets better from here. Oh, man. Ooh, yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. This car was probably in a junkyard at one point. And maybe had the top down while it was there. And... Oh boy. Yeah. No. Not gonna happen for you, bud. Yeah, this thing got soaked. I'm looking inside here. The cassette deck is just loaded with grime. And you can see where water really got in there. Yeah, that's too bad. Now, is it fixable? Absolutely. Is it something that I would be willing to tackle? No, as bad as it is. See, I see water over here, and that makes me even more nervous because the tuner board is right here. There's a lot of sensitive electronics in there. But once you have corrosion to this level, yes, it's fixable. I'm not going to lie. But the amount of work that it would take to restore it would be ridiculous. I mean, the time, the hours, and diagnosing and replacing various components, it's just not something I'm willing to tackle at this stage. So I'm going to let the guy know what I think. He may not like what I have to say, but he's better off finding a parts unit for this. And yeah, I can see there's what looks like corrosion in the faceplate area as well, and she's not good. The back side of the faceplate looks okay. That being the board here. Let me see if I can get you over there. So the back side of the faceplate looks fine, but the front side of the board, I can already see there's traces of corrosion. This is the top of the LCD panel, so that got wet, corroded. No, just no. The parts unit. That's all it is. The display's got a nice deep scratch in it too, and yeah, buttons are bad, pretty badly scratched. No. I have my limits. Yeah. So I'm not getting any power to the lighting circuit either, and that's really a bad sign. It is. No, if I don't get lighting, that means my 8-volt rail's down. I believe the power is all over here. This is where you get your power. You know, these divide the 12-volt down to, 5 volts, 8 volts. And, well, what a shame. Now, one bright spot in this one might actually be the body sonic amp. Let's take a look inside there. That might be salvageable, actually. So if we need parts for the other unit, for the body sonic side of things, this might be a gold mine. The body sonic amp is at the very bottom. So if water was on top, let's take a look inside here. Let's take a good look at her. All right, what do we got? Looks clean. Looks salvageable. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. But the only thing I would do is maybe replace these capacitors. And as I mentioned in my last video, whether I upload it or not, I'm not really sure. But what I found is that replacing these capacitors has actually brought the stereo back to life. Prior to doing that, my stereo sounded flat, and if you started really giving it to her, it would fizzle out. It didn't have very good bass response. It had a lot of distortion, and once I replaced those capacitors, the stereo just woke up. It'll blow you out of the cabin very easily. We already know we have a bad mode select switch in the other unit, and so that might be salvageable from this. I might be able to take this entire front control panel and put it in the other radio. That's a possibility. As I was saying, the later version of this stereo, they lost this connector right here. And if you look at it, it just has this black and this blue wire. The black wire, I believe, is a ground wire. And what they did is they actually tapped it in over here. So, but it's the same board. They just reconfigured some wire locations. I guess they had a moment of clarity where they realized that we don't need this accessory port. And that's how my stereo was done. Your amplifier chip is over here. This is your amplifier right here. Okay. And as far as I can tell, that amplifier controls audio for not only the body sonic, but the seat speakers as well, which is interesting. That's how when I bench test these stereos, I'm not hooking up any of this. Well, I'm not hooking up this, but I'm not hooking up any of the seat speakers at all. I'm just running the door speaker. I'm using the door speaker outputs. That's all I use when I bench test them. So if somebody sends me a radio, if requested, I can check the I can't check the body sonic. I guess I could, but I don't have the connector needed to make that happen. So you know, that's unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to just reassemble this stereo. I'm going to quickly glance at my notes from the owner and see what his plans are. But I can already tell you those plans are going to change a little bit. I don't have the parts to fix this one up. I just don't have those. I don't have it. And if I did, I mean, I have some of these boards, but unfortunately, I don't believe I have the rear amp board. Not the rear. I'm sorry. I don't have. You know, I actually might. I might be able to build him a radio. I do have a lot of parts kicking around. Because I just remembered I bought 2 stereos. One of them I burned up. I melted the yeah, that happened. I blew up the I think it was the amp board. But beyond that, I mean, this thing, I would have to build a whole new stereo from the ashes, and I'm not doing that. I would be building a whole new stereo, and I don't have, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'll have to take a look and see what's left of all those other stereos I pieced apart. I might be able to do something. But it's going to be, it's not going to be part of what I originally quoted him. It's going to have to be a completely different side project, if you will. I'm going to requote the guy. But I'm going to encourage him to look for another stereo in the meantime. But there's always money in these brackets. I mean, there's money here. Not a lot, but there's money here. And people are looking for these parts. I get requests for buttons quite frequently from the folks that I've met on the forums, and I've already sold off quite a few of those little bits and pieces to people who really need them. Just keep these radios alive. That's what I'm all about. But if they've looked like they've spent time on the Titanic, I'm less inclined to mess with them. But, like I said, you know, a stereo in this condition is valuable in parts. Faceplate, that's usable. The circuit board, probably not. The faceplate can be refinished and repurposed for one that is in really poor condition. The control knobs, you know, those are very valuable. People keep asking me for knobs and buttons, which is kind of strange. But okay, let's put this back together and let's go back to the other stereo, and we'll do a more extensive disassembly of that. Yeah, see how these are all rusted, oops, pretty badly too. That indicates, I mean, just take a look at this post right here. You know, it is oxidized, and you don't want that. You don't want your control knobs and such to be oxidized. It's kind of a bad sign. It's like that guy who sent me, he thought he was doing me a solid, and I appreciate the effort, I really do. But he found a Macintosh 2. What am I doing? This is the correct one, right? Yeah. Okay. He found an LC2 in an abandoned building, and he thought I might want it. I'm like, well, yeah, send it over. It was in pretty rough shape, but I thought it was cool that he thought of me. That was nice of him. All right. Okay. All right. Why don't we take this one apart? Get a better understanding as to what kind of condition things are in. Now, what we can do, if he opts not to repair the cassette deck, which is a logical conclusion here, we can simply remove or disconnect the cassette deck. And what's going to happen is the stereo will pretend it doesn't exist. It's going to ignore... I see somebody had this one apart before. It says long screw. So they took notes as to what goes where, and that's good to do. I'm going to get the faceplate off. So let's do that. So for reference, this is a good example of what it's supposed to look like. And if he has me refinish this faceplate, oh, there's a screw randomly sitting in there. That's not good. That's not a good thing. So if we take a look at okay, you see the finish on this? It's really kind of a silver, but it's a matte finish. It's not really glossy. Yeah. And okay. Yeah. And these control buttons, these have a lot of UV damage. Now what I would do to these is I would take these out and I take them to a buffing wheel. And what that buffing wheel is going to do is it's going to remove the oxidization and it'll make these shiny again. I did that to mine and they look beautiful. What's nice about this radio is if you look at this, if you look at this screen, it's in perfect condition. This radio likely had it had a cover on it for much of its life. There was a cover that snapped onto the faceplate of these, and it was to protect them from UV damage. It also protected them from theft because people would walk by the car and they would assume that the car just doesn't have a stereo, or it's, you know, the stereo delete option. And they would walk by. That was the thinking behind it, the rationale. But these buttons, you take these out and you buff these with a buffing wheel, and you'll get that chalky residue off, and they'll look brand new again. And you can do that because these are double shot. So you've got, what they would do is they would mold the clear and the black. I'm not really sure if they would do it at the same process or not, but basically the clear, it's not a painted button. So it's not like they took a clear button or a white button and they painted it. It's actually molded in color. So you can definitely restore these. But you've got to be very careful because when they turn yellow like this and they show excessive UV damage, they're very fragile. They can actually shatter if you're not careful. I tried drilling a hole in one of these buttons just to see if I could put a light in it, and the button completely disintegrated. But overall, this one's not bad looking. Let's take the CD neck out and take a look at that. Oh, here we go. This is not fully seated. Okay, that's part of the problem. What I want to do... So he's got the CD player. Oh, this is all disconnected. Looks like he ripped the connector off. If I'm not mistaken, this guy, he sent this out to some other shop to see if it could be fixed, and they just gave up on it almost immediately. I'm not going to give up on this one. I think this one's got a life left. It's got more life in it. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, this guy, he really is, he wants, I know he wants to save too, but if he's watching, well, you know the answer, dude. I'm sorry. The other one's just, I don't like to use the word lost cause, very, very lightly. Don't worry, I have more screws. it fell underneath something, and I'm not going to get it right now. I got extras. Yeah, I don't use the... Oh, there's no screw in that one. And let's get down in here. Move it right here. Yeah. Okay, that's all we need. That's all we need. Here we go. Let's lift it out. Yeah, he's got the ribbon connector disconnected. And... oh, I gotta take out the screw down here. Yeah, so somebody was in here. And, okay. What I want to do is look at this belt right here and see. It's got some chalky look to it. It's intact. See, when I put the screwdriver to it, it bounces back. So this belt, which drives this wormed screw, it should be okay. Yeah, it should be fine. When I turn this pulley, the motor does rotate. And if I put some pressure against it, oh yeah, it's got some resistance. So this belt drive should be fine. Let's take a look at our rubber bushings. Yeah, they're a little punky, but they're not gone. What I can do is we'll mock load a CD into it and see what that looks like. Let me grab a CD. We'll put this in there. I'll just drive it in. And let's see, with the mechanism fully laden, how does it sit? You want to make sure that the mechanism is sprung rather than sitting at the bottom of the ocean, so to speak. See, if these are completely gonzo, the whole thing is going to sit at the bottom, kind of like this. Let me see if I can get that in an angle here. It's going to be like that. But it is sprung, it floats, and that's what you want. Little thing I picked up today. So the lady and I were out driving around in the Miata today on our little date night. That's what Miatas are good for too. And what we did was we went out cruising around, and I had the CD going. I had Two Against Nature by Steely Dan, one of my favorite Steely Dan albums. And we're cruising around, and we hit an expansion joint. She skipped. Hit another expansion joint. Skip. Okay. These CD players were built without any memory at all. And the result of that is they skip without really any provocation. Now, before I replaced that's a brand new laser block. When I say laser block, and I've talked about this before, it's this guy right here. This is your laser block. And if you've got a weak laser, this potentiometer right here can be dialed up just a tad, just a little bit. Try a little bit at a time until you get what you're looking for. You want to get a clean, you should be able to play an entire CD that's in good condition, start to finish, without skipping a beat. You can dial that up just a bit, just a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's going to raise your laser power. And by doing so, it is more likely to, it will compensate for the wear and tear and age that the laser has suffered through. And you can get a little more life out of it. How much? It's hard to say. Eventually the laser will be dead. Now, back to my stereo. So, what was happening was, it would play, I'd be sitting in the garage playing a CD, and it would skip without any provocation. So that's a sign that the laser is dying. But rather than dial it up to 10 or 11, as the movie goes, I chose to simply replace the whole thing. Start from zero. I'm keeping the car for a long time, and I don't plan on ever removing that stereo again. I don't want to be dealing with dying lasers. The problem is, to do that, like, I got the parts pretty cheaply. Ah, here we go. Look at this. It's somebody had a little bit of a field day here. Okay. What was happening here was there's no cassette in here, but because the transport mechanism is in the loaded position and there's nothing in it, the unit's like, well, what's up? It doesn't know what to do. But to make it more complex, it's all disconnected anyway. So we got to pull this out and take a look at these belts. I guarantee you they're trash. All right. So what makes me nervous is there are two itty-bitty belts that drive the transport mechanism's position. It drives a cam. And those little itty-bitty belts are impossible to find. I can't find them. I've looked. Let's see what we got. Okay. Itty-bitty belts are... Alright, so we got... Alright, looking at the pinch rollers, they're glazed over, which is going to happen. That's pretty typical. But I think we can save them. When I poke them with my pokey tool, they spring back. They don't have a gummy consistency to them, so these are salvageable, totally. And the little itty bitty belts. This is where we might have a problem. Let me get something small enough to poke in there, like this guy right here. And okay, that's good. We got good belts. They're not melted, they're not breaking, they're not falling off. This cassette deck might be salvageable. Like, for real. I don't know why it's in such a bad position. And the main drive belt is intact. It's actually a good belt. I should be able to pinch it, pull at it, tug it. Oh, yeah, okay. This belt is bad. I'm going to show you why. Now, if your belts are good, you know, if you can stretch them and they go right back to their original position and they don't deform, you're good to go. Just don't replace them. Literally don't replace them if you don't have to. Because some of these earlier belts were made in a way that just they will not fail. They really won't for a long time. All right, well, let's take this cover off. I've got a spare belt I'm gonna throw on this one. But yeah, this belt is no good. It's junk. So let's put a different belt on there. I've got extras, don't worry. I'm not gonna send the guy a huge, enormous bill for a belt. Alright, so here I got some. I think I'm gonna put the belt that came off of my stereo originally back. See, this one, it's nice and taut. Whereas this one, not so much. It has some give to it, like taffy. So what that's going to do is it's going to slip. This one's nice and tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this one on. Hopefully I remember how it goes on. It goes on. Don't tell me. It goes on like this. This belt is going to solve one of his problems. We're going to get this cassette deck in the proper position, and it's going to allow us to use the tuner. So when you're disconnecting the cassette deck, okay, you can do that. You can delete the cassette deck. I know you can delete the CD mechanism. I tried it and it worked. Okay, there we go. So that belt should be good to go. And we need to get it. Oh, we already got it back into position. Okay, good. So we want to roll it all the way back until it stops. I think that's about it. Okay. So this cassette deck might be okay. All right. While we're in, might as well do some work to it. So I'm gonna just take some air duster, clean up a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean the heads. Only one head. No record head in these, by the way. I'm gonna just kind of give the head a quick little once over. And we're gonna clean the, just kind of brush up on the old cap stands. These have a textured finish almost on them. And I'm not even gonna worry about the pinch rollers. They're in good shape. Yeah, they're not too bad. I put new ones in mine because I could. It cost me they were like probably $60 or 40 bucks for both, which, yeah, it's a lot of money, but again, it's not a car that I'm going to be giving away or selling anytime soon. All right. Okay. Let's clean the superficial gunk out of there. And everything looks to be lubricated. Let's just slip it back in and see what happens. Still don't know the situation with the CD player. We'll get there in a moment. Let me get the cover back on. So we changed the belt. That was definitely a problem. That was no good. Put this cover back on. And give this guy at least one stereo. That sounds good. I admire what he's doing. He's trying to restore a he's got two black 90, oh, they're all black, but two 93 limited editions with the Kool-Aid red interior. The sexy car. Kind of reminds me of the Z3, the BMW Z3. Not a bad color combination, really. I'll plug these in. Boom and boom. But if you're going to delete your cassette deck, I believe you've got to remove this board and disconnect these two. And at that point, it should maybe not fool the system into thinking there's no cassette deck present at all. So, also, are these flux cables damaged? Whenever I see something that's been messed with, I do question that. We've got that metal cover. This metal cover that was in the box, it goes over here. It's to protect the flex cable from damage. So that's got to go here. All right. Remember that next time you tear one of these apart. So let's screw down the cassette deck. We're not done in here, I think, but I think I'm done in here. I think I've done what I'm going to do. I'm going to screw this down. And let's get this guy here. It's important, by the way, when you're working on something like this, that you definitely do consider reattaching, screw things down, because chassis ground matters depending on how it was engineered. The system ground, the chassis ground, it really is critical. That's a bond you don't want to mess with. You know what I mean? You don't want to be disrupting the old chassis ground. I think this guy wants me to do a full recap. I gotta go back into the notes. I haven't even looked at them yet to see what he wants. But I like to start with a functional system. You know, I don't like to take systems that are completely helpless, don't work, and I don't like to take on those types of. It has for me to. I need to have something to work with. You know, it's got to be somewhat functional for me to get in there and start digging around. I'm not that good. You know what I mean? I make no qualms about it. I'm not a miracle worker. I ain't no Lewis Rossman, but I do know my way around a soldering iron. So, are these his screws? I think so. So it looks like at this point we're probably going to be looking at a possible relamp. More than likely a partial or a total relamp. I'm missing a screw there. I'll find it later. Maybe tweak the CD mech. Raise some power on that. I'll reconnect these guys. Definitely he wants a full cosmetic overhaul, I think. I think that was one of the biggest reasons he brought it to me. And I am going to try to use some of the parts from his deck. I'm going to try the one that's all damaged. I'm thinking about it as I'm working, and I'm like, well, what can I do for this? Well, I just might have enough parts, but it's going to cost him. I'm going to have to charge him for those parts if he wants it saved. Because effectively, I'm taking parts that I was planning on hanging on to for later projects, and I'll be repurposing them to rebuild a functioning stereo. So that'll be entirely up to him, and I'm not going to do any work. I'm not going to do anything that he wouldn't, otherwise approve of. I'm fairly new to this, and I want a happy customer, but I also don't want to, give away all my spare parts on my first go around, But I want him to be happy. But again, I have to protect my own interests too. Because I don't have like a buildup of inventory of spare parts for these things. That's I'm not there yet. When you've worked on a couple hundred stereos, you're gonna have parts everywhere. You're gonna have what you need to fix the next one, and so on and so forth. But I'm not there. Not there yet. So I got one parts unit, and I paid a lot for. I paid $100 for that stereo that I'm going to be pulling parts out of. That's a lot of money to just hand out. So I got at least 2 screws holding that in. We've got to put our CD mech flex. Up. That goes in first. I'm gonna grab that. Okay. We gotta connect that flex cable in the front, and then we'll be able to do a quick power on. I hope this guy wants Bluetooth, because I bought 3 Bluetooth modules for these things, and I got to be able to sell those Bluetooth modules. Yeah, so yep, that's that. Okay, so that should be good there. Don't put your magnetic screwdrivers next to your tape cassettes, you moron. Okay. Alright, let's get the faceplate hooked up. And we'll get I'm going to make a note of what bulbs are out. Something I didn't do when we first powered it up. I'm going to make a note of which bulbs are out, and if there's more than 1 or 2, yeah, we'll do a full relamp on this. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Those are easy. Relamps are easy to do on these. once you get down into them, you know. All right, so let's power it up. Reconnect our harness. Okay. Get our ground lead. Where's my ground lead? Oh, there's my ground lead. Okay. Everything's hooked up. Contact. All right. So we have light. Okay. Not very much light, but we have light. That works. Unmute it. FM. All right, so now, all right, so we've got some bulbs out over here for sure. I'm gonna turn off my background lighting. Okay. All right. So we've got, looks like possible bulb failure in here. This is really dim. There should be more than one light in here. These are going fine. These are going fine. I think I have one of these out in mine, actually. It just sort of happened. ALC. Let's put a tape in it. Let's see what we got. I'm going to try a CD first. Let's just start with the easy stuff. Okay, it loads. It doesn't spin at all. Nothing. No, it won't even spin. Second one I've seen with that problem, actually. Where it just doesn't want to spin. Okay. That'll be interesting to figure out. How about our cassette deck? Let's put a tape in there. The second one I've seen with that exact problem. So I know this is all connected, so we'll just take another look at that. Okay, it pulls it in. It plays. It reverses. All right. It plays, it ejects, it reverses direction. So the cassette deck is good. And the speed sounds okay. This tape is ruined because I haven't really taken good care of it. But it sounds pretty good. The cassette deck is all set. What can I tell you? So that's great. All right. Come on. There we go. So cassette deck's fine. CD player, no go. No va. No va. All right. Let's pull it back out. Let's check a few things over. It's the second one I've had so far where there was no, it's like there's no power to the motor. Okay, I can work with that. It's something, it's something, right? Okay, let's see why there's no power to the motor. First of all, I'm going to try another, I think I have another part CD player I can play with. And we'll put that in for testing purposes. So let's pull the faceplate back off. And yeah, it's connected. So, all right. Maybe we can work with this, maybe not. No power to the drive motor. Why would that happen? So I'm going to have to order some parts. I'm already looking at a lamp set, possibly a complete relamp would be easy on this guy. Not sure. I need to do a complete lamp job. unless that's what he wants. 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, there's like 13 lamps in the main faceplate plus the body Sonic. Alright. Okay. If you're watching, I'm not going to charge you any extra to fix that cassette deck because it was already in good shape. I just changed out a belt. I actually gave you a used belt because that's one of the best ones I have on hand. But this is your old one, and it's, yeah, no good. I'll put it in the box. You can have it back. I don't want it. All right. Now, why are we not getting any power to the drive motor or the? Now, what I could do. I'm sure the motor's not bad. I don't see how it could be. Let's just check these connections. Look at that. Oh, there's a burn mark on this one. Let's see. Always check on these flex circuits. Check for any damage, any cuts, anything like that. But what has me like there's what looks like a burn mark here. Now, let's see where that corresponds to. That burn mark is above here. Let's look for anything that might have blown apart. There's no smoking gun, so to speak. Alright. Okay. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to pull this connector out. No, I don't see anything bad there. But you can see there's definitely like a, looks like it saw some heat. And it is located directly above this capacitor and this diode. So that could mean something. But I don't see any, like, again, there's no smoking gun, so to speak. So we're not getting power to the spindle motor is what I actually mean to say. The spindle motor is not powering up. You can hear this engaging. It's doing something. And it looks like it pulls power directly from this motor. So if that motor is getting power, then the spindle should be getting power. Right? Right. Okay. Alright. Well, what I can do, this is not something that I recommend, but what we'll do is we'll, I'm going to just unplug my, I have a set of leads with, I believe, some probes on them. Right here. I got these. I made these up. And what we can do is apply some current to the motor to see if it even spins. Alright, that's just a very basic, I'm sure it does. And I'm going to drop my power down to, let's say, yeah, so, okay. That goes, alright, that gets its power. So there's a little micro switch here. And that micro switch might be the problem. Okay, so this micro switch looks like it cuts power if you follow the tracers on this micro switch, it just tells the computer the position of the optical block. So when the optical block is homing itself, it's going to hit this micro switch. All right. There's a possibility that that micro switch could be bad too. We'll take a look at that in a minute. I'm going to turn my power on, and we're going to drop it down to about 5 volts maybe. And we're going to see if this motor spins. Here we go. spins. I think it runs on lower than that. Let's bring it down to like 2 volts. Still too much power. But the motor's not the problem. I didn't think it was, but I thought it would just, what the hell? Let's just go through the process. So it looks like we're not getting power to the, we're not getting power to it. For what reason, I don't know. That's what we're here to find out. So motor controls all come off of this front connector, which tells me that I need to be looking in this region here, potentially. We want to make sure that all of our micro switches are doing their job. So we're going to need a multimeter, preferably one that does tone. I got this guy here for this purpose. All right, let's set it to make noise. All right. I'm going to check both micro switches. This one here first. Right now it's open. And if I push the optical block all the way to the home position, when you're moving the optical block, there's a spring-loaded catch right here. You don't want to force it, all right? You want to push this back and let it go home where it belongs. So let's try it again. Okay. Okay, so from the looks of it, okay, that switch is working, so it's closed. It's open. Good. This other micro switch, normally open, and it closes when there's a CD loaded. Now we know that one works, so I'm going to just kind of prop it closed. We know it works because the CD does load, and it does make some noises, and it makes all the right noises. So let's give this a try. Okay. So the limit micro switches and such, so far 2 out of 2 look good to go. Yet we're getting no power to the spindle motor, but we are getting power to this guy because I know I heard it making some noise. Let's do this. I'm gonna force it to rehome. Let's make sure that's getting power. Check for anything that was unplugged while they were messing with it. No, I don't see anything. Nothing sticks out of my mind at all. At all. Okay. All right. So we know that if there's power, that motor is going to be spinning. And it's not. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I have another CD neck that we can play with. I believe was giving me the same problem. Yeah, that's the one. So which deck is this one? Oh, this is the parts unit that I bought. And I've got one that I dismantled, which doesn't help us at all. Got in my arsenal of inventory. I've got another, how many CD mechs do I have? Apparently, oh, that one I ripped for parts. Alright. Oh, Oreo's gonna take over the video, apparently. Anybody? Alright. Tell you what we're gonna do here. have in my hand a complete CD control board. Get down, buddy. Get down. Get down. We're going to try this. We're going to put this other board in place and see if that fixes our problem. Couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt. So let's do that. All right. And then what we could do is maybe compare the two and see, okay, what's blown? Once we know what's blown, we'll know how to fix these in the future. I mean, everybody wins. It's held in by these little twisted metal pieces. And this is the board from the stereo that I believe had a functioning CD player. I don't really know for sure. Could have the same problem. Don't know. But it should at least, at a minimum, it should be spinning. The CD player should be spinning, and then it should reject the disc. Even with a bad laser, it should do that, I believe. Even with a bad laser. Oh, I missed one. Stuck. What are you stuck on, you? Alright, get that out of the way. What is it hung up on? Let me get this one. Oh, this one's already out. It's not letting go. Oh, I see where it's stuck. There we are. Let's look at the bottom of it. And again, there's no like smoking gun, like, oh my god, this is the problem. But what's nice is these are all labeled. Temp, data, accessory. Now these are your voltage rails, your accessory voltage or illumination voltage. Beep, clock, bulget. I don't know what that means. Blogget. They're all labeled as to what they do. And mat, power, accessory, ground. All right. That's just my stomach making noise. Okay, so let's kind of straighten these out. Okay. Put this one in, see what happens. There's a distinct possibility that our titanified radio might actually have some good parts. Like, for example, it could potentially have another one of these boards if we so need it. And, you know, we'll just put this guy in place here. Wish I had notes from the guy who tried to fix this before, so I knew at least where they were headed in terms of diagnosing, and maybe that'll give us a clue as to why not certain things weren't done. So we're getting the voltage for... Oh, wait a minute. I just noticed something here. That looked a little damaged to me, but okay. Alright. Maybe not. Okay. That's our CD mic. Put it back in. Why do birds suddenly appear anytime you are near? Okay. There we are. Let me just lock that guy down. Okay, we got all that connected. Let's get some screws. Okay, control panel, please. I wish I could run these without the control panel because that would make my life a lot easier. I could just, plug it in. Okay, yep, nope. Try it again, yep, nope. But I gotta remove the control panel every time I manipulate anything. I'm muttering to myself. That's how you know I'm tired. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah. Let's try this again. This bottom connector is one of the more tricky ones to get to. They don't, it's not exactly user-friendly or serviceman-friendly. Okay. Let's clip it in, plug it in. Got our voltage back up to 12. Good. Do it. Hit it. All right. Let's put our CD in. Hear that? So it's homing the laser. It's not putting out. So we swapped out the board. We know the board's not the problem. We know the motor's not the problem. Something down in this section here is probably the problem. It can't be the entire 5 volt or 8 volt rail because our cassette deck works fine. I just noticed our body sonic illumination is out. I just noticed that now. Did I mention that before? Kill the lights. Yeah, we have no illumination in the body sonic unit. I just noticed that. That must be a new thing. So again, a complete relamp would be the way to go here. Yeah. Yes, it would. And we have nothing on the CD. Okay. I do not have a known good deck to put in here. I have one that has the same issue. What if I try to kickstart it? No. It's just not. It's not happening. It's not putting power to it. I'm going to try to tune a known good frequency. Alright, so I just want to make sure that the tuner works on this guy. So we have a good running tuner, we have a good cassette deck. Let's take stock of what we have here. We know that all that works. That's half the battle. And we definitely want to do a relamp. CD still isn't working. Why might that be? Why might that be? Man, this connector's in place. I'm not really sure. Be something to think about. What I need to do is look at the schematic and see where the power is coming from for the spindle motor. And from that point forward, we could check for voltage. Let's see, we've got ground, 5-volt, accessory power, backup, and audio. So let's take it from the top. So where this connects into on the amp board, front to back, I'll tell you what these wires do. All right. So from here, we've got ground, chassis ground. This is our 5-volt rail. This is our accessory power. So when the ignition switch is turned on, the accessory power is active. This one's power. This white wire is backup. So what that is, that's constant. This is going to be constant power, whether the radio is on or off, or the ignition switch is on or off. So that's always live. And then you've got your red, ground, white. So that's red is our right ground, audio ground, and our left speaker. So that's what those are for. And let's do this. Let's measure voltage going to those. Let's just, for the hell of it, let's just see what we get. So I'm going to set this to DC.
Friend who absolutely abused.
Okay. So we're going to scratch this to here. All right. We should be getting... I'm sorry, I think one of these is supposed to be 8 volts. It should be ground. Okay. This one should be 5 volts. But the CD player is not active. Okay. Alright. So that's 5 volts when there's a disc loaded. 0 volts when a disc is unloaded. As I understand it. Yep. Okay, so that's doing its job. I'm sorry, I measured the wrong one. Alright, let's put the disc in there again. Here we go. 4.91 volts, and then it okay. So this one should be accessory power. This should be 12 volts. Okay, we got 12 volts. And that's constant when the stereo is activated. And this fourth one in, we've got nothing. Let's put a disc in there and see what we get. And it looks like it jumps up to about 5 volts, so we know that's good. And okay, and the other one is backup. This should be 12 volts, whether the radio is on, off, accessory, on, or off. So that's fine. So we're getting power to the module. But there is a failed component. We've tried 2 different boards so far. And that's that. Well, I think that's enough for now. I think we have a good idea as to what we're working with. We know that we definitely have a CD player that needs further troubleshooting. And I think I'm willing to do the job. We know we need to do a cosmetic restoration. This thing is in actually pretty good shape, but that's not what the customer wants. Let me take a look at his notes. All right, so I just went through my messages with the owner, and he initially sent me both radios to be restored externally, and that was also including Bluetooth installation. So what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to do one radio. I gave him a list of everything I'm going to do. So we're going to replace only the blown bulbs. I actually have enough on hand to do that. I don't have to order more. Just check my parts bin. So we're going to just do the blown bulbs only. I'm not going to do them all. We're going to install a Bluetooth module. And I'm going to fix that mode switch. I didn't mention that to him, but I'll fix that. It's not a big deal. And I think in my last message to him, one of them is a parts radio. So we're not doing both. I think he wanted both, but I think he settled on just doing one and maybe using one for parts. Either way, yeah, it's not a big deal. And I'm going to be sending him the old one back, of course. I'm not one of those people who keeps other people's things, you know. They're not mine to keep, so. I know I've got bulbs in here somewhere. I had some from when I did mine. Nope, those aren't the right ones. I might have to order a bunch more. These are for something else. I think these are for, wait, are these them? No, these are for an actual component stereo. And there's some caps in there. They're in here somewhere. Pretty sure. Either way, I don't need to waste your time going through my stuff. It's those are just caps. I'm gonna offer to do a recap job on the whole thing. If he wants it, I gotta get a parts list put together for that, and then I'll give him a total. A little Oreo. You like that bubble wrap, don't you? Well, that's not my bubble wrap, so don't ruin it. And I think I had a note somewhere on my desk with a list of caps. Ooh, parts. Don't lose those. Put those right down and there. Okay, well, I think that's gonna cover us for now. Thank you for watching, and this is an adventure for sure. We'll see where it takes us. We got one good stereo. I think we can fix her, but at this point, I'm not really sure about the poor CD player. It just doesn't want to spin up, and I don't know why. I don't know why. What can I do? I have to do some extensive troubleshooting to see. I got to follow the schematic. I have a schematic for it. So we got to follow that, and we got to see where the problem is. And that'll be fun. That's what I want to do with my time. But yeah, I guess that's what I have to do. We got to see why it's not commanding that motor to spin. It's not the first time I've seen this. So this is a known issue. This is legit a known problem with these because, again, I get a lot of people saying their CD players don't do anything. And that would explain it. These are faceplate stuff. And I got all these little bags of bolts and screws. Oh, those are my belts. Those back in my belt stash. And, so if we can't get the CD player going, that's not the end of the world. I do want to find out, though, why it doesn't work, because that will help us fix other units where people want the CD players to work. You see where I'm going with this? So, if I had my stereo, if I still had it out of the car, see, it's back in the car now. So if I had it out of the car, then I would be able to just say, oh, well, we'll just swap in a few parts and see, narrow it down. Either it's on the amp board, it's not switching it on or not, or if it's on, you know, if this, or if it's that, or this. We can do that with known good parts, but we don't have those known good parts available to us right now, so that's the problem. So, all right, until then. All right, so I contacted the customer, and here's the deal. This one we're going to use for parts if there's anything useful on it. And that one over there we're going to restore. So that's the plan. What I want to do though, before we dive in, really, I'm going to oh yeah, also the project is we're going to do a faceplate restore. So refinish, decals, the whole works. And we're going to replace any burned out lamps. So that's the deal. So we're going to do lamps, we're going to do faceplate restoration, and we're going to be doing the Bluetooth conversion, as we did with mine, and that's going to be it for him. And we're going to send all the leftover parts will be sent back. I believe that was the deal. And that's that, man. But I want to do some more testing here. I don't want to give up on this CD player just yet. So I've got a CD player right here that I don't think works. You know what I want to do? Here, let's do this. Let's unplug everything here. Okay. I've got this other deck, or this other stereo that I haven't really done anything with. This one was one that I bought for parts, and I have done nothing to it. I just want to quickly test it and see what its functional state is, if anything. I don't know why though they're so tight, these connectors. I'm probably also going to do a recap on it just because I'm going to have to restock my capacitor inventory anyway. I've got another stereo coming today. I got a confirmation email from the guy. He wants me to do basically the same deal. We're doing, I think we're doing Bluetooth, and we're doing, he wants to get sound out of it, and it doesn't produce any sound. So I told him, again, I'll see what I can do. No guarantees, no promises at this point. And try to make it sing. I'm going to borrow this guy's his Body Sonic amp. And I want to test out this chassis that I have. I've done nothing with this chassis so far. I don't know what its condition is, but I want to know. And let's find out right now. Let's do it, baby. All right. I'm gonna need a faceplate. I have my own tester faceplate that I use, so I'll use that. And yeah, here we go. This is the faceplate from the Pioneer Mazda MPV minivan stereo. Electrically, it's exactly the same. It's just cosmetically different. And we're going to use this. As a matter of fact, the board in this faceplate housing is actually from my original Body Sonic stereo. So it's the original one from my car, which has a lot of UV degradation. Oh, a little sad note, by the way, I broke my window, my back window on my convertible top today. I was opening the top up, or putting it down, and I accidentally creased the window and it cracked. So let's pour one out for my 28-year-old convertible top. And it's all right. You know, these things happen, and you can't let it bother you. You can't let it ruin your day, because at the end of the day, I still have one of the nicest NA Miatas on the road in New Hampshire, and you know what? With the top down, even with the top up, it still looks beautiful, so I'm not worried. I reached out to a convertible top shop just a few minutes ago, and see if I can get a price on a new top. Not a top, sorry, a new window. So on the Miata, the rear window is part of what's called the apron, which is a individually replaceable part, but it does require some. It's a lot of work, and I'm not equipped to do upholstery work, so you know, I'm not doing it. I'll have somebody else do it for me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so this one lights up. And it doesn't produce any audio. We know that this guy's Bodysonic amp has no backlighting that works. But yeah, this one doesn't produce any sound. That's the issue with this one. Actually, we're getting power to the amp, so it wants to make noise, but it can't. Let's put a disc in it. Same problem. No spin. No spin. No spin. Okay. Well, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, at least we know. At least we know.